Sags, thank you. The FA Cup, the original and the best. No effects, no augmented noise, no stilted silence before kick-off. Our technobods at TalkSport's London Bridge HQ have done a terrific job up until now. But as the two sets of players take the knee prior to the start of proceedings here, just like a pint in a pub, there's nothing like the sound of real people inside a football stadium. We are off and underway here at Wembley with Leicester City in blue shirts, blue shorts and blue socks attacking the goal away to our right hand side, and Southampton in their change strip, all white with a diagonal red stripe which comes from the left shoulder down to the right hip. And let's hope the football lives up to expectation. Dean Ashton played in an FA Cup semi-final for West Ham against Middlesbrough at Villa Park and set up the winning goal and hit the bar, and also left his mark on Mark Schwarzer. What are you expecting today?
Nerves to start with. It'll be which team can settle them quickest and get into their game plan, into their rhythm. That could be pivotal. The game that we played at Villa Park was just so tense. There was a lack of quality because of the nerves for both sides, and in the end it was just one little flick on that took a tiny bit more of my hair away, and Marlon Harewood did the rest.
Our referee is Chris Kavanagh. The VAR is Paul Tierney, and the ball is on the edge of the 18-yard box away to our right with Yannick Vestergaard, whose future is in doubt in the summer. He's been touted as a possible Leicester recruit in the summer, Tottenham Hotspur as well, although I'm not sure that Southampton really want to do business there again. The ball is loose inside the centre circle. Gineppo, who's the one change from the defeat on Monday night to West Brom, takes the ball down and plays it to the right back, Walker Peters. He sends it down the touchline looking for Redmond. It's headed away by Soyuncu, who's back in the team after COVID-19, and it's out of play on the far side in front of a big banner which says The Foxes, and a picture of Kun Vishai, the former owner of Leicester City, who sadly passed away in a helicopter crash. And there are other flags there detailing supporters clubs from around the world that have an allegiance to Leicester City, and a huge crest as well on that halfway line. There's a We Are the Saints banner draped over some empty seats, and lots of St George's flags with different Southampton insignias on it as well. But the main feature today is the amount of supporters that are in the ground away to our left. As Johnny Evans comes under pressure from Danny Ings down in the left corner of the field, it goes out of play and away for a throw-in down by the corner flag. The two 11s then, Leicester with Schmeichel in goal, Fofana, Soyuncu and Evans the back three, Pereira, Ndidi, Tielemans and Castagna across the middle, the two wing-backs Pereira and Castagna. Perez playing as the 10, Iheanacho and Vardy are the two strikers. Southampton with Forster in goal, Walker Peters, Bednarek, Vestergaard and Bertrand, Ward-Prowse and Diallo holding, Armstrong and Gineppo joining up with Ings and Redmond, who are both leading the line. The ball comes off Bertrand in the right full-back position after pressure from Leicester City, and Wesley Fofana will take a throw-in for the East Midlanders. It's Leicester's first FA Cup semi-final for 39 years. They haven't played an FA Cup final since 1969. It is a trophy they have never won, something that Brendan Rodgers wants to put right. Southampton's only triumph was 1976. Their last visit to the final came in 2003 when they lost to Arsenal in Cardiff. Fofana's throws the halfway line. Perez returning to the team after his COVID-19 breach, can't get it under control. Walker Peters has got it centre field, just inside the centre circle, racing away from Vardy. Plays it out to Armstrong, who gets it back to Ward-Prowse, and then it's shuffled through the defence from Bednarek to Vestergaard. And as we thought would happen, they'll try and play out from the back Southampton, and Leicester will press high up and try and capitalise on any mistakes. Dean Ashton.
Yeah, I mean, obviously very different formations for the two. 4-4-2 a lot of the time for Southampton, but they can suddenly be very narrow as Leicester win it back high up.
And it's Tielemans who's charging forward under pressure from Redmond, but steers it out to the left where Perez takes over, right-footed, tries to curl it towards the far post, but he overhits it and it goes out and away for a goal kick away to our right. And they want to check on the progress of an injured Leicester man who's just on the edge of the centre circle, obscured by Wilfred Ndidi at the moment. But I think it's Jamie Vardy who's down and needing some attention, and the Leicester City physios will come running on to have a look at Jamie Vardy, and Ibrahim Diallo The 22-year-old Frenchman is about to get a yellow card for his involvement in that. Dean Ashton.
Yeah, I mean, it was typical Jamie Vardy. As soon as that ball goes into the midfield, he doesn't just do the job of working the two centre-backs. He'll go deep and try and win the ball, and he does slide in, and Diallo just tries to get there before him, but he's too slow, and actually looks like he stamps a little bit on Jamie Vardy's calf. Very, very painful indeed after sliding in, and then it went through to Tielemans, who slid Ayoze Perez in, opened up his body on that left-hand side, looking for that far right-hand corner, and 5 or 6 yards over the top.
Well, he's back on his feet now, just getting the last bit of attention from the physios, and as you say, yeah, it just looks as if he stepped on his calf. We had an incident earlier in the game yesterday, actually, where Fernandinho had a little tickle with the studs on Mason Mount's cheek.
Are we not thinking that's a red card? The fact that he's missed the ball and gone in with his studs on his calf?
I think what we're quite sort of interested to see is whether or not the VAR is having a look at it. The VAR is Peter Banks. Sorry, that was yesterday's. Paul Tierney today is the VAR, sorry, and he's in the Stockley Park. Whether or not he's taking a glance at that, we've got no communication to suggest he is. But a yellow card has been given and no other action is being taken.
I am a little bit surprised after I saw just a second angle of it. I mean, he's very, very late. He doesn't get anywhere near the ball and stamps right on Jamie Vardy's calf. I think he's quite lucky, to be honest, just to have a yellow card.
Well, it's something that maybe we'll talk to Brendan Rodgers about after the game, depending on what happens here. And certainly he hasn't been in a particularly good mood recently. He said that the transgressions of Maddison, Perez, Chowdhury, Barnes and Morgan had left him feeling the lowest he'd felt in his time at the club, and challenged his stars to write back-page headlines tomorrow that will have a positive spin. No one yet to get into an advanced position, but we've played 6 minutes on TalkSport and it's still goalless between Southampton and Leicester City, and Southampton have the ball on the halfway line. It's worked wide to the Scotsman Stuart Armstrong from Danny Ings, and then into Diallo, then back to the right, and Carl Walker-Peters, who's about 7 or 8 steps inside Leicester territory, across to Bednarek, and then via Vestergaard into the fullback Bertrand, and then Gineppo is tripped from behind by the aggressive Wesley Fofana, who's settled in well actually to Premier League football. £30 million from St Etienne, and linked with Manchester United this week. He's been such a success, it's probably no surprise that those rumours will come.
Not at all. Another heavy challenge though at the start of this game, and that's tension. That's what that is. You're anxious to make sure that you don't allow that attack to continue. A couple of late challenges.
Well, we're certainly hoping for an entertaining game. Leicester were involved in a 5-goal thriller last weekend. Southampton were involved in a 5-goal thriller against Burnley the week before, live on TalkSport 2. The prospects are good for a fun evening in the sun. I got a whiff of barbecues earlier on when I was walking around outside. It's a beautiful day.
It took all my willpower not to be dragged in on that Wembley walk with people sat outside
enjoying a few sherbets.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, I did actually go into a restaurant in the square in Wembley and spilt a bowl of pasta down my trousers, which didn't go down particularly well.
No, not when you got a beautiful suit jacket on. You and producer Deck looked like you were going out after.
I wasn't too happy about it. 8 minutes gone, we're back underway. The ball is deep inside the Southampton half. It's with Bednarek onto Bertrand up to the halfway line, and now Gineppo under pressure from Castagna, who wins it and turns it back in field via Evans to Kasper Schmeichel, and he hoists it up towards the halfway line. Iheanacho can't reach it. He's the top scoring African ever in the FA Cup competition is Kelechi Iheanacho, having such a good scoring run at present. He's got 11 in his last 11 games. That's some upturn. Here's Bednarek steering the ball away up towards the right side. Now Walker-Peters opens his legs and charges into the Leicester half, but there is the insurance policy. Wilfred Ndidi, who goes across, snaffles it and turns it back into the left corner, where it's cleared by Ricardo Pereira.
He's so good at that, isn't he, Wilfred Ndidi? So good. He must be a defender's dream, to be honest. You can just set yourselves knowing that they've got to get past him first before they threaten you. I really like the way Leicester set up. They make you feel as if you're comfortable, as if you've got comfortable possession as they have done then, and they've won it back, and that's what they do. They really do pound.
Has won it back onto Vardy and then helped onto Iheanacho, right side of the area. Iheanacho trying to take on Vestergaard, but Vestergaard held his ground really well and ended up steering it away. And now a counter-attack at the other end has sent Danny Ings away, and he's in a foot race with Kasper Schmeichel, who's come out to the edge of the area and he's managed to clear well high up over the halfway line. It was an interesting passage of play because they had pinched it on the edge of the centre circle inside Southampton territory, and it was just stretching a little bit. Every pass was just on the edge, wasn't it? And then it broke down when Iheanacho tried to take on Vestergaard, but very quickly Southampton turned defence into attack, Dean Ashton.
Yeah, they did. Great description. It was just running away every pass from each player. Never really looked under control for Leicester, but that's what they do. They make you feel comfortable, and then all of a sudden it'll be Ndidi or Tielemans or Vardy coming back to win the ball, and then bang, they just spring 4-5 blue shirts at you. But there's the threat of Danny Ings, clever movement in behind, and Kasper Schmeichel, as most goalkeepers do nowadays, very much on the front foot looking to sweep up.
Well, Southampton know they've got to play a lot better than they did on Monday night when they lost to West Bromwich Albion. They showed good character to come from behind to beat Burnley 2 Sundays ago, but 2021 has been very different to 2020. The form has gone off a cliff, the shallowness of the squad has been exposed, but in the FA Cup they are yet to let in a goal, brushing aside Shrewsbury, Arsenal, Wolves and Bournemouth, but don't expect them to keep a clean sheet today. No team has qualified for a final without conceding a goal since Everton in 1966. Another moment for entertainment. Ball headed away by Bednarek, deep inside his own territory. It's congested over on the far side in front of the sparsely populated stand away to our left-hand side. It goes out for a throw-in to Southampton, and Carl Walker-Peters launches it back to Bednarek. Across the back for it goes, and Bertrand ends up with it, and then with his back to goal it's with Gineppo, who's easily dispossessed by Wesley Fofana, who fancies his chances against Gineppo, you feel. Infield it goes to Tielemans, then Ndidi, then on to Iheanacho, pokes it back to Fofana, and Leicester City are in control again. 12 minutes gone. You're listening to Talk Sport.
As soon as Southampton lose the ball, they go into a nice 4-4-2 shape, but then when they do get possession they can go into more of a narrow 4-2-2-2, and they're dangerous with the players that they've got. Gineppo, Armstrong, Redmond, all really good ball carriers. When they then try to break, they'll really burst forward and try and commit players, Southampton.
And Jan Bednarek just moving out to get in front of Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy, the red ball fueled footballer, looking to continue his Wembley run of 4 goals in 3 games, but Bednarek is a little bit more conventional, or organic, shall we say. He sups Mate tea to make him feel fresh and hydrated. It's turned onto it by Christian Piontek of Hertha Berlin while they were on international duty. He's also gone gluten-free, Bednarek, to try and get himself even fitter. He's sort of inspired by his international teammate Robert Lewandowski, trying to get every single ounce out of his body.
Well, the body transformation of Lewandowski's quite incredible. If you're looking for a beach body, he's your man.
Ball headed away by Bednarek, tucked down by Ndidi, all the way back to Soyuncu. Both of us are looking for that. We haven't found it yet, but we're still looking for it. We're giving it a go, aren't we, Dean? Here is Pereira, back to Soyuncu, just short of the halfway line, hair tied back in a bun above his head, playing for Turkey in the summer, and he will look to go deep with that team who've done actually quite well recently. Fofana out to this near side, the right. It's flicked infield by Castagna, playing it right back to Day. It's behind him, but he's continued his run, and he's got it by Tielemans, and then returns the ball into the centre. Perez is beaten to it by the retreating Armstrong, who's brilliant at reading the danger. He was fouled by Jose Perez, and the free kick has been given to Southampton.
Yeah, very underrated, Stuart Armstrong. Like I said, really good ball carrier, make good intelligent runs off the ball as well towards his forwards or in behind, but also great work rate, will do his work back towards his own goal for his team as he just did there.
I think those two players that maybe have been a bit underrated in the past, James Ward-Prowse and Stuart Armstrong, both work incredibly hard, and their fitness levels are at peak, especially at the moment. I mean, James Ward-Prowse hardly misses a game, but in fact He hardly misses a minute for Southampton. There was one match where he was taken off on a stretcher and he turned up and played in 90 minutes the next match 3 days later. He is that sort of character.
I think also they're getting better with maturity, because certainly James Ward-Prowse has never been the quickest, but the more he understands his role and understands his position and his role in the side, the better he gets.
15 minutes gone. Gareth Southgate will be looking at him today, and he's here watching on from high above. Plays the ball back to Soyuncu Ndidi, and then gives it to Fofana, and Leicester have possession just short of the halfway line. Tight to the touchline is Castagna. Infield to Iheanacho. No quarter given or asked in the opening 15 minutes of this game. Fiercely fought, well contested, but no chances at either end for Schmeichel or Fraser Forster, the goalkeeper away to our right, who also might be being looked at by Gareth Southgate. Knows him of old, and he's just clipped the ball out towards the right hand side after an initial heavy touch, looking for Stuart Armstrong. Away it goes initially by Pereira, but it's recovered by Soyuncu. Tielemans met by Ings on the centre circle. To the right now, and Fofana deep inside Leicester territory, trying to build some play, trying to create an attack. Castagna onto Iheanacho, didn't get it under control. There was a foul on the near side. Vestergaard was the man who was pinned back. Ralph Hasenhüttl wasn't happy about it, but Vestergaard's challenge on Castagna is the one that's punished, and a free kick is given to Leicester City, 0-0.
Yeah, Castagna started brightly, hasn't he, on this right hand side, combined a couple of times already, and that time he was just too quick for Vestergaard. It's a couple of times as well Southampton have just looked to spin that ball over the top. Once for Danny Ings, they just did it again for Redmond. It's something they're clearly looking for, to catch the Leicester back line out, especially when they're spread out, the three centre-backs.
Fofana travels over the halfway line. Here Nacho's touch is too heavy, allows Diallo to shut him down and recover possession for Southampton. One of the issues for Leicester so far is just the last little pass hasn't been entirely accurate, but Vardy's found Perez here, and again it's just got the right ball into Iheanacho, and he's on the stretch when he tried to play it. As a result, it went straight to Vestergaard, and Southampton can clear it. Halfway line, Gineppo comes tight infield, right to the centre circle, lays it back to Bertrand, who clips it down the touchline before it can reach Brendan Rodgers, who was setting himself to control that. Danny Ings kicks it away, and it goes out for a throw-in on this near side.
I mean, that's all it takes, is a couple of percent, of edginess, just to take that bit of care with the touch or a bit of care with the pass. You feel like you've just got to do it a little bit quicker than you maybe need to. I think once it really does settle the game, we'll see more of a pattern, because at the moment it's hard to say. It's just very jumpy between the two sides.
Tielemans thinks he's got the ball, but Castagna's being penalised by Dan Cook, the assistant, on this near side for a late challenge, and a free kick is given in the left full-back position. Southampton have had a really tricky time. In November they were top of the league for the first time in 32 years. Now they're 14th. By this time next week, Newcastle could have more points than Southampton. It's been a real rough ride since the turn of the year. They beat Liverpool in the first game of this calendar year, a Danny Ings goal, after
brilliant performance.
It was a brilliant performance, after which Ralph Hasenhüttl was very emotional. Since then, the sort of wheels have come off, really. They have had injury problems, and they do have a very small squad, and that has certainly been shown up. They did manage to beat Arsenal in the third round of the competition, despite the fact they made several changes. Here is Nathan Redmond, who scored twice in the quarterfinals. Back to the left-hand side, and Gineppo's pass is heavy. Walcott and Maddison will be looking up on this game so far, thinking they could make a difference in it. Here's Perez over the halfway line as it breaks in Leicester's favour, and threaded through by Pereira. Doesn't quite reach Vardy, tied it up by James Ward-Prowse, and that's been the way of things.
It has. Excellent though from James Ward-Prowse, just spotting the danger, getting his angles right to make sure that when that ball was played into Jamie Vardy, he was there to be able to intercept. But both teams giving the ball away cheaply.
And again, Leicester winning it back after Southampton tried to play out from the back. 20 minutes played. Nothing really to get this 4,000 strong crowd off their feet.
It surprised me that there's not been one ball yet over the top for Jamie Vardy. I know it's just a simple thing, but you got Vestergaard and Bednarek are probably thinking, this is all right. at the moment, everything's in front of us. We'll be fine with you, Jamie, just sitting in front of us. He needs to spin in behind a few times, maybe just open up a little bit more space.
Ball given away by Tielemans, under pressure from Diallo to Armstrong, edge of the area, pokes it down the right. Southampton on the attack here. A cross comes in from Redmond. It's a deep one over the head of Schmeichel, always kept alive brilliantly by Danny Ings at the far post, but he couldn't quite find Diallo, and it's cleared away by Castagna, who runs it to safety. But that was a threat from Southampton, showing how quickly they can turn the ball over too.
Yeah, cheaply given away, and again by Fofana.
Yeah, straight into Bertrand's path. James Ward-Prowse takes over. They just recover and retreat Southampton into shape. They get hold of the ball just over the halfway line, 5-6 yards. Strolling forward is James Ward-Prowse on the left side, goes back again and decides to go all the way back to safety and straight back to his goalkeeper Fraser Forster, who clips it down the right side, looking for Armstrong. A header infield, not the most accurate, away by Pereira. Perez tries to spring an attack. It's stopped by Carl Walker-Peters, won by Vardy out wide, spun in behind by Pereira into Perez, who darts into the box. He tries to take on Vestergaard, who comes across and blocks his run and blocks the ball as well, and it's excellent defending.
Well, that's 3 or 4 times now Perez has been awful once he's got his head down and bursting towards the Southampton penalty area. He's not composed himself at all. He's not got his head up. Easy pass there into Jamie Vardy towards the edge of the box would have been the right decision. Instead, it was a heavy touch and given the ball away 2 or 3 times in good positions for Leicester.
Good win by Pereira on halfway, pinches it, nudges it into the path of the long-limbed Wilfred Ndidi, and then it's guided back to Soyuncu. Leicester City, 3rd in the Premier League. A lot of experience as well as youth in this Leicester squad. Schmeichel, Vardy or Brighton from the title-winning team 5 years ago. Johnny Evans has won 3 Premier League titles, a Club World Cup, the League Cup twice, but he's never won an FA Cup. He wants to change that. He just scooped the ball down the right side, looking for a Iheanacho. Always going to be difficult to try and win a ball in the air alongside Vestergaard, who just rises and heads it clear. Vestergaard, who, I think I mentioned this a few times when I've been doing Southampton commentary, his heading's got so much better. Here's Gineppo, darting in from the left side. Evans spots the danger, slides in, excellent tackle. Excellent tackle from Johnny Evans, because Gineppo was threatening to get away from him. Vardy threatening to get away down the left-hand side. Again, it's shut down, this time by James Ward-Prowse, who's across there very quickly. Bednarek had a hand in that as well. Southampton have got it back. 0-0, 22 played.
But looked uncomfortable, Bednarek, there when he was just taken down the line by Jamie Vardy. It wasn't even a proper ball down the line. He just latched onto the ball that was cleared. I just think him and Iheanacho, can they pull either of the centre-backs out wide into a position they don't want to be in 1v1? Haven't done as yet. It'd be something I would be certainly looking at if you're one of the Leicester midfield players or the centre-backs. I'd be saying to my forwards, look, we need to open them up a little bit more.
Well, Hasenhüttl says he wants to emulate the Southampton heroes of 1976 by getting to the final and winning it. That victory over Manchester United remains Southampton's only triumph in this competition. Leicester have never had a triumph in this competition. Hasenhüttl's personal cup stats are horrible, really. He's never taken charge of a team beyond the second round of a major cup competition before. Here's a Iheanacho on the edge of the 18-yard box into Vardy, whose strike takes a little deflection, and Forster does well just to scramble across to stop it from going out for a corner kick. And Yannick Vestergaard seems to have picked up something in a collision there on the edge of his D, and he's not entirely comfortable at all, is he? The ball was thrown in from the right side. Iheanacho brought it down. Vardy snaked his way towards the edge of the box, and then there was a collision between Vardy and Vestergaard. Vestergaard, I think it was just a contact injury. He'll be okay.
I think he just may have fractionally rolled the ankle as he stepped in Jamie Vardy's shot, and his leg followed through just onto the ankle of Vestergaard, but he's up and looks fine. Again, very, very scrappy, wasn't it, from Leicester, but they managed to wriggle their way through. Vardy looking to get the strike off, but again, it was a poor effort. It was scuffed along the floor, bobbling into the arms of Forster.
Well, we haven't mentioned it much in the build-up to this game, but Leicester did beat Southampton 9-0 18 months ago. It's been a very different start to this game than it was to that one when Ryan Bertrand was sent off early in that match. And, well, Iosi Perez, who's only ever scored hat-tricks for Southampton and Newcastle against for Leicester and Newcastle against Southampton run absolute riots. Here is Vestergaard stretching, doesn't look particularly comfortable there, ended up playing the ball off Castagna and out of play on this near side. Hasn't really been enough in the game to get excited about for the 4,000 local people and key workers that have come in as part of a government pilot to watch this fixture. They all had to be tested prior to entering the stadium. We all had to be tested today prior to coming into the stadium. Lateral flow test within 24 hours, reporting them via the NHS app. And then coming in today, usual checks applying. Here is Armstrong away to our right side, picking the ball up and sending it into the path of Carl Walker-Peters. Walker-Peters, who's now a permanent signing from Tottenham Hotspur, guides the ball back into the feet of James Ward-Prowse, who's just dropped deeper to pick the ball up. He's looking for someone to run in behind now, and he's hoping that it'll be Redmond, but it was just a little bit too close to Soyuncu, who sweeps up rather nicely and arrows the ball into the stand. And there's a supporter there threatening to go and pick the ball up, and he's immediately told, don't touch it, that's sanitised. I went to do it earlier when I was on the touchline. The ball came over the side of the advertising hoardings where I was standing. I was going to pick it up, and before I did, there was a glare. Don't touch. Ball sent long up towards Ings. It's collected by Tielemans after a header away by Fofana. 25 gone. Leicester 0, Southampton 0 on TalkSport in the FA Cup semi-final for the right to play Chelsea on the 15th of May after they beat Manchester City earlier on today. Manchester United beat Burnley 3-1. Arsenal only managed to secure a draw against Fulham in the, I think it was the 7th minute of injury time. That there was an equalising goal. Heartbreak for Scott Parker, whose team had managed to weather one or two storms towards the end of that match. And Birmingham beat Rotherham and Coventry beat Barnsley in the Championship. Rotherham-Birmingham was on TalkSport 2 a little bit earlier on today. Here is Perez over on the left, playing it into Vardy, edge of the area, exchanges passes back with the Spaniard, produces across towards the far post. Iheanacho is driving towards it, doesn't reach it. It just flies behind and away for a goal kick, but it's the best move of the match by half. It was picked up by Perez, who charged forward, played the ball into Jamie Vardy, got it back again, but his final ball, again, Dean Ashton, left something to be desired.
Yeah, it wasn't difficult either. Had plenty of time, no real pressure on the ball. Finally, a lovely bit of play from one of the sides, interchanging between Jamie Vardy and Jose Perez. Again, no pressure on the balls. Just got to clip that in towards the 6-yard line for Vardy or Iheanacho at the back post, and I think that's lazy. That needs to be better.
Well, he put his head in his hands, and so did Brendan Rodgers, and then he applauded the effort, but actually it was inaccurate from Jose Perez. And the 27-year-old, who was a club record signing when he signed from Newcastle for £30 million, has never really lived up to that tag. 28 gone, goalless on TalkSport.
I mean, I knew it would be edgy. I didn't realise it would. Oh, this could be for Ings.
Ings picks it up 10 yards outside the area, runs towards the edge of the box, goes down under pressure. He dived because he knew that he'd run the ball too far, and it was cleared away by Leicester City. It was an unnecessary movement by the England forward.
It's because he overplayed it. The touch was too hard. The chance was there to take the strike. He didn't. He delayed and then tried to win a free kick, and with fans in the stadium, there was no screams, was there, to influence the referee?
Well, that is one of the welcome bonuses to having people inside the stadium. You can't hear the loud shrieks as much as you've been able to hear them recently. But Ings, he did go to threaten to strike, and then when he didn't do that, Wilfred Ndidi came across and he just saw that there was an opportunity to go down. He stuck out his right leg, tangled it amongst those pipe cleaner limbs that Ndidi possesses, and he fell to the ground. It remains goalless. 29 minutes gone. You're listening to TalkSport. Leicester City against Southampton in the FA Cup semi-final. Remember, later in the week on TalkSport 2, Southampton are in action again. They play Tottenham Hotspur. That should be an interesting game after what's happened this week. Here is Iheanacho down the right, trying to take on Bednarek, who slides in, takes him down, and actually took the ball really well. It was a well-timed challenge, and it's out for a throw-in. Quickly taken. Iheanacho's got it again. Tries to clip it over the top for Vardy, but doesn't get the delivery right, and it's cut out on the edge of the D by Bednarek, and Southampton win the ball. Gineppo delays before playing it forward again. If he'd got that into the Leicester half earlier, there was a chance for Ings to run in behind. All cleared upfield now, though, and a chance for Armstrong to break. But Tielemans is there, and he just bustles his way between man and ball, robs it, and it's back with Leicester again. Dean Ashton
needed to have more awareness there. Stuart Armstrong needed to play it quicker, and he was snuffed out by Ndidi and Tielemans, and again, still very sloppy in this game from both sides.
I find that with Southampton a lot, though. They take too many touches on the ball. If they play it quicker, they get more opportunities. That even happened the other week against Burnley. Stuart Armstrong, who's been very good for them and does create opportunities, just taking too many touches when one would do.
Yeah, sometimes lack of confidence, that's what that brings, is wanting to take too much care with every single movement and touch that you make.
They've won a free kick here, though, Southampton, and that's always dangerous because it's in James Ward-Prowse delivery zone. Walker-Peters generating the foul after Perez was a little bit late on him. It's a free kick which is 11 yards outside the penalty area, right side. It's rather wide, so that it'll be whipped in by the right footer towards the edge of the box here. Bednarek and Vestergaard are up from the back. There's 6 or 7 blue shirts lined up on the edge of the area. There's a 2-man wall, and this will be a crucial moment in this first half. It looks as if Bertrand's gone across there too, but I would put my money on James Ward-Prowse coming up with something here. He's just had a little word with Stuart Armstrong. Is there something off the training ground that they've worked on?
Possibly. I always watch Danny Ings. He's always in and around the big players, Bednarek and Vestergaard, just looking for a little space in case they miss it.
Ward-Prowse takes it, right-footed, arcs it towards the penalty spot. Vestergaard goes up. It's away by Ndidi, who's good in the air as well. There's a crunch inside the box, and Ings goes to ground. Castagna doesn't get the perfect pass back to Fofana, but Fofana manages to turn it into the right full-back position and clear. And then Tielemans lifts it over the head of Carl Walker-Peters and stumbles away. And then was there a high foot by Tielemans, which is why he's been punished? I thought the foul was going to go the other way.
No, actually, I thought Walker-Peters did brilliantly there. He read what Tielemans was going to do. He was going to try and flick it over his head and get it the other side. Walker-Peters read it brilliantly and just put his body in the way, and therefore Tielemans had to foul him if he wanted to try and get the ball. It was really clever defending in his body positioning.
Boise78 on Instagram has just sent a message saying that he is sitting behind Fraser Forster's goal and he's listening to the commentary. Brilliant. Ball cleared over the halfway line, down the left looking for Southampton's Gineppo. It's won by Diallo as Tielemans threatens to break. Dead centre of the Leicester half is James Ward-Prowse. Galloping on now is Carl Walker-Peters. He runs into Perez and then turns it back to Armstrong. Midway point of the Leicester half. Still with Carl Walker-Peters of Southampton in those white shirts with that red diagonal stripe. They look a little bit like Peru, the way they're dressed today. I mean, I don't want to start a rant, but I do not understand why they're wearing their away kit.
No.
In an FA Cup semi-final against a team playing in blue when they're playing red.
No idea.
No, me neither. Here is Diallo, always giving it away casually on the halfway line, and Tielemans has sent the ball on into Vardy, inside the area. It's a tight angle, and he sent it narrowly over the top from a 45-degree angle on the edge of the 6-yard box. Tried to clip it over the advancing Forster, didn't get his angles particularly right, and it goes floating over the crossbar and out for a goal kick. It's a let-off for Southampton.
And that's his lane, his favourite lane, that left-hand side. It was a brilliant ball, I have to say, from Tielemans. I thought he could have taken it first time as Forster came out, but he didn't. He decided to take the angle away from goal and then looked to cheekily chip it over the top of Forster, and he just didn't quite get enough of his foot on top of it. and there's a little bit of spin that took it away from goal and over the top. That's a big chance for Jamie Vardy when he's through with that sort of pace.
And it's Tielemans again, who just loves those little slip balls into those channels, and he gets them right, and when he does get them right, Leicester usually make something of it, and they almost did there. That's the best chance of the game that we've had so far. We haven't had many. 34 gone, 0-0. Here's Armstrong at the other end, forcing Pereira into an error, and would you believe it, Pereira has put it behind, and that's the first corner of the game, Dean Ashton.
It's because it's just been so scrappy in the middle of the pitch.
It really has.
But no surprise that when you win the ball back quick, can you play that pass first time into Vardy, looking to sprint in behind? He's got the beating of Bednarek and Vestergaard, and he just didn't quite have the finish. Maybe because he's on that bad run. When you're confident, you just take them without even thinking.
Here's the corner on the near side then. Left hand in the air from James Ward-Prowse. He's got Ings to aim at. Bednarek on the goalkeeper. Vestergaard at the back post. It's poor delivery, and it goes all the way through underneath the foot of Johnny Evans, and almost came through to Vestergaard. It's one back on the right side by Armstrong's done really well. Ball into the box is blocked by Tielemans. Armstrong's going for it again. Perez is over there. Still Armstrong is foraging and trying to win the ball, and it's pushed out by Perez in the left full-back position, and Southampton have a throw.
Well, plenty of effort again from Perez, but quality's been poor from him. Allows Stuart Armstrong to nip in front.
Bertrand's a little bit disappointed that he didn't make more of that opportunity, because it was a sort of skidder, wasn't it, into the box from James Ward-Prowse. Headed on by Ings into the area. Gineppo chasing, away by Fofana, cleared by Castagna up to the halfway line, but Vestergaard is there. Bit of Southampton pressure being put on here. Here is James Ward-Prowse just left of the centre circle. 0-0 the score on TalkSport. Sam Matterface and Dean Ashton here at Wembley Stadium with 4,000 supporters as the ball's played down the right by Redmond. He's overhit that, misplaced his pass, and it runs out of play and away for a goal kick, and the attack is over. 10 minutes to go before the break.
I think both managers will be eager to get their sides in at half time, try and settle the players down. I think they'll both be disappointed with the quality that's been on show in terms of on the ball. Both teams giving the ball away far too often, and you'd have to say it's been very, very even.
So far, there's a lot of hustle and bustle without any quality or excitement, but certainly I think there's a lot of supporters inside the ground who are just delighted to be here, or people inside the ground, not necessarily support. There is one or two supporters. I saw a guy outside Bread & Co. in a Leicester jersey today, and I've seen one or two Southampton shirts around the place as well. 57% possession for Ralph Harson's Hoozle team so far. No shots on target, one corner. Leicester 43% possession, 3 shots, all of them off target so far. This is TalkSport. Ball is with Southampton right side, just before the halfway line, with Carl Walker-Peters, clips it forward, down the right, looking for James Ward-Prowse. A casual clearance by Schmeichel elevates it to Johnny Evans in the left full-back area, and then Soyuncu twists away from Redmond, plays it square into Tielemans. He then clips it over the top of the advancing Gineppo, and now Leicester change the angle and look to attack down the right. It's Fofana infield towards Tielemans, and then Fofana once again just slowing proceedings down, and the 20-year-old Frenchman guides it back to the experienced Northern Irish international Johnny Evans, who then skews the ball straight out of play over on the far side.
Well, first bit of calmness and quality was from Kasper Schmeichel as he was closed down, just casually flicked the ball over the top of Redmond into the path of Johnny Evans.
Well, he's a calm guy. He's a casual guy. I spoke to him during lockdown actually, and he was learning another instrument. I think he's taking singing lessons as well. I think his family are secretly quite musical.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've been to a couple of golf days where Big Pete has got on the piano.
There you are. Here is that is Peter Schmeichel, of course, who did win the FA Cup. Kasper's dad. It's part of the treble-winning team in 1999. Again, Southampton trying to play out from the back, harassed by Perez, who's a lot of industry over on that far side, but has come to nothing once again.
He's been playing very wide, actually, more so on that left-hand side, not as a more attacking midfielder, in front of Tielemans and Ndidi.
It's almost as if they've sort of switched the formation slightly to a 4-4-2 to match up Southampton, who Fofana's played a lot down this side on the right-hand side as well. It almost as a right fullback, Castagna playing as a half-back on the right of a four-man midfield. Here is Pereira. Ndidi just gets a little whack of the ball. Apparently, according to the referees, play on. Here is Redmond down the left, moving into a wing position. He's got support from Gineppo, who's a little bit further out. Can he produce a cross? He decides to take 3 touches when 1 would have done. And he goes all the way back to Vestergaard. Here is James Ward-Prowse, clipping the ball high out to the far side. The problem is that so far no one's really gone anywhere fast, have they?
It's so slow, isn't it? The build-up from Southampton in particular, at least when Leicester win the ball, they're trying to do something really quickly and burst forward, whereas Southampton and Leicester are happy for them to have the ball at the back. That's what they want to do, is set these little traps and then look to win the ball and spring on Southampton. But Southampton, very slow, very methodical. I haven't seen that ball carrying from their forward players, which I think is a real strength of theirs to open teams up.
It's a bit of red ball versus keep ball at the moment, isn't it? Here is James Ward-Prowse trying to get on the end of a pass infield from Armstrong. Snuffed out by Johnny Evans, sent out towards the left. Played into Soyuncu. Across to Johnny Evans once more, and the tall, lean figure of Johnny Evans just guides it into the path of Fofana. Leicester happy now to keep the ball for a little bit. 4 minutes to go before half-time.
It's absolutely screaming, do not lose this game, isn't it? From both sides. There's, neither side is really willing to gamble too many bodies forward.
There's some space on this near side for Castagna. He's found by Tielemans into the box looking for Vardy. It's a bit behind him from Castagna, and it's clipped away by Vestergaard and out for a Leicester corner, but it probably should have produced more than that. Castagna's ball, he had time to think about it, it just was inaccurate.
It was, but I would probably blame Jamie Vardy more so. Jamie Vardy made a run to a point where Castagna couldn't play it to him, really. He tried and failed, but he couldn't really play it to him because he was behind the defender, and the cute pass that Vardy wanted wasn't really on.
Corner, Tielemans to take it. The first corner of the game for Leicester City. 0-0 the score with 4 minutes to go before the conclusion of the first half. Tielemans' delivery into the near post. Ndidi with a free header. It ripples the top of the net and goes behind for a goal kick. Well, what an opportunity that was. A curling free kick towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Rising highest was Ndidi. Unmarked. Well, sent it over the bar.
Just sauntered into the box, didn't he? Wilfred Ndidi. No one marking him. Just got ahead of Danny Ings. He's always going to beat him in the air. Flicks over the top of Armstrong, and he just tries to guide it to that far post, either looking to get someone in on the back post or for it to drop in into the side netting, and it just goes over the top of the crossbar.
Leicester City 0, Southampton 0 on Talk Sport, and really disappointing for Leicester City that he didn't get that on target. He's not a great scorer of goals, Wilfred Ndidi, just the one so far this season. He's more useful at the other end, the best tackler in the Premier League, no doubt about that, and he's just displayed that once again. Those long, amazing telescopic limbs that just make up the ground so quickly, don't they? And he's got the ability, really, with those extendable legs. They seem to be able to lengthen in time to scrape back a loose ball, or one that was previously at the feet of opponent, at will.
Yeah, I mean, his reading of the game is fantastic, Wilfred Ndidi.
Here is Vardy down the left, trying to get the cross in, waits, and then the slide tackle comes in from Carl Walker-Peters, and that allows Jamie Vardy to skip over it and win a corner.
With Wilfred Ndidi, and when you're in that role, you have to see things really early. It's no good reacting to what's happening. You've got to have your head side to side, checking where everybody is, where is the opponent, and then looking to anticipate and read what's going to happen. It's not just look that he's always there.
Here is the corner to be taken by Tielemans over on the far side. Evans has travelled up from the back, so is Ndidi with another header to the far post. Evans is there, back across the face of goal. Vardy over the top of the crossbar. It took a little deflection as Vardy went up, I think, with Vestergaard on the edge of the, or almost on the goal line. It might have been Bednarak, actually. Forster ended up cannoning straight into Bednarek and into the post, and Bednarek has got a problem as a result of that, and Chris Kavanagh has had to stop the game and see if Bednarek needs some attention. But there was a real scramble for it after Evans sent the ball back across the face of goal, and between Vardy, Bednarek, the post and everything else in between, the ball went behind and away for another corner.
Well, they didn't learn their lesson, did they? Ndidi again with a free header.
Corner from Tielemans, right-footed, right under the post this time, a little bit deeper though, and it goes beyond Fraser Forster's goal. Overhit this time by the Belgian and out for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. And again, the execution of the final pass not particularly brilliant. We will have extra time and penalties if it stays like this. There hasn't been too many signs of a goal so far, but things might change in the second half.
And there's plenty on both benches, I think, to maybe change the game.
And of course, it's a game that's screaming out for James Maddison.
It is. And that's what he'll be thinking.
I'm sure it is. I think he was thinking that before we started, though, to be fair. I think he thinks that about every game. Perez trying to head it on. It's cleared away by James Ward-Prowse. Back down the left it goes. You need a bit of confidence if you're going to play top-level football. Here is James Ward-Prowse. Under pressure, was he brought down there? I think he was. And Perez, who's claiming that he didn't do anything wrong, is absolutely furious the decision's gone against him. This is halfway inside the Leicester half on the right. It's perfect territory for a delivery from James Ward-Prowse, and he's got an extra minute to do so.
I mean, he has every right to be annoyed. It's a fantastic challenge. Ward-Prowse just takes too long. He comes in from the side rather than behind. I think if it was a tackle from behind, I would see where the referee's coming from, but it wasn't. He made sure he came from the side, won the ball, but from the referee, Chris Kavanagh's angle, he felt it was a free kick. And you're right, anywhere within 30 yards of the penalty area, I always think's a dangerous position because of the delivery of James Ward-Prowse.
Honed on the training field after training sessions at Staplewood over and over again, copying the technique of David Beckham. He's placed the ball down right side and he whips it right-footed towards the penalty spot. Bednarek is towards it, but it's away by Soyuncu, and that's the last action of the first 45 minutes. Leicester lost the big semi-final under Brendan Rodgers last season when they missed out on a place in the Carabao Cup final. I think they're determined not to suffer another shock defeat here, but Southampton certainly proving a tough obstacle. Chelsea no closer to knowing the identity of the opponents that they will face on May the 15th. A scrappy first 45. Leicester 0, Southampton 0. Well, Leicester's last FA Cup semi-final was 1982. It was in the middle of the Falklands conflict. The Commodore 64 personal computer was launched. Villa won the European Cup, and the Eurovision Song Contest was held in Harrogate. It would be 18 months before the world got its first sight of Dean Ashton. Southampton's last semi-final was here. Losers to Chelsea just a couple of years ago under Mark Hughes. 2-0 the defeat on that day, but they kept it tight until half-time on that day as well.
And look, this is a competition that makes heroes. It's as simple as that. You can be immortalised in the club's history by one moment in a semi-final. The players don't understand it now, but after their careers are finished, it could be a defining moment, and that's what makes this competition so special.
Well, we spent the afternoon yesterday with Mark Hughes, and the number of semi-final goals that he scored, how important they were for Manchester United, for Chelsea in their runs to FA Cup finals in the 90s and the late 80s, and Southampton hoping that they can find a similar hero here. Leicester City 0, Southampton 0, 45 minutes of normal time to play, and we're underway in the second half with Leicester shooting from right to left in blue shirts, blue shorts and blue socks, and Southampton in their change strip of white with a diagonal stripe from left shoulder to right hip, a red diagonal stripe looking reminiscent of Peru. Here James Ward-Prowse has the ball for Southampton, just short of the halfway line. He fires it into Danny Ings at a rapid pace. He can't control it. And Leicester have it back again, and the second half has started very similar to the first, with it changing hands, the ball, on several occasions. A foul by Armstrong on Perez, and that gives me a chance to go through the 2-11s. Leicester City have Schmeichel in goal. Fofana, Soyuncu and Evans the back three. It's Pereira, Ndidi, Tielemans and Castagna, and then Perez on that left-hand side, with Iheanacho and Vardy up top. As far as Southampton are concerned, Forster is their goalkeeper, Walker-Peters, Bednarek, Vestergaard and Bertrand the back four. Ward-Prowse and Diallo is booked early on. Armstrong and Gineppo supporting Ings and Redmond in attack. And Leicester sort of changed their configuration in that first half. They went to sort of almost a 4-4-2 at times, but I can see Ayoze Perez just wandering into that more attacking midfield number 10 position as we speak. It remains 0-0, 2 minutes gone. The ball is on the Southampton left with Ryan Bertrand. His contract is coming to its end, and I think they are discussing the possibility of a new one. He wants 3 years. I don't think Southampton are necessarily too sure about giving a 31-year-old that length of contract. And there are rumours that they might be interested in Brandon Williams as well, but he has won a throw-in over on the far side. Picked up by Diallo. Back to Diallo from Bertrand under pressure from Iheanacho. It goes centrally now. Just in front of the centre circle is Carl Walker-Peters, and then it's Armstrong round the corner to Carl Walker-Peters. He faces up Ricardo Pereira, clips it down the right. Pereira just intervenes and heads it away, but Carl Walker-Peters has got it back again. Now it goes into the feet of James Ward-Prowse and then all the way back to the halfway line. Dean Ashton is with me at the start of the second half. What are you hoping for? Oh, that was some challenge by Soyuncu right through Carl Walker-Peters. The ball went down the right channel, and Soyuncu's going to get himself a yellow card because it was wild.
It certainly was. And there's no real need. There just isn't. Carl Walker-Peters is outside the box. He's got to at least control the ball before he would even cross it into the box, and he's clever enough just to try and nick the ball away, knowing he's going to get clattered by Soyuncu, who goes flying in.
Completely missed the ball. He's nowhere near the ball. The ball's completely gone, and Soyuncu has just nicked Walker-Peters.
Well, and also it would have been talked about time and time again. Do not give free kicks away when we don't need to.
And that's what they've done. Just outside the area, down the right side, in the wing position. It's perfect for James Ward-Prowse to whip this one in. And indeed, he got a bit of space, didn't he, at this end in the first half when Leicester were attacking the goal away to our right. Now Vestergaard is at the back post. Bednarek is ready to attack as well, as the ball is elevated into the back post towards Vestergaard by James Ward-Prowse, but his header is too high. Got too much purchase on it, and it goes over the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, another great delivery from James Ward-Prowse. Just enough pace on it to allow Vestergaard to try and attack it towards the back post. Got up, mistimed, and the header just seemed to bounce off the roof of his head and up and over.
Well, the 4,000 residents of Brent who have taken part in a government pilot scheme have so far not seen too much to get them off their seats. One or two of them are just coming back from picking up some half-time refreshments or using the conveniences. They are dappled at either end in household clusters.
I've kept my eye on Iheanacho, and he's very quiet in that first half. He's the most informed player on the pitch.
He's got the ball now, and he's just tried to thread it through the legs of James Ward-Prowse. Didn't quite come off, and it's cleared away. And Southampton don't attack with any real speed. Now it's picked up by Perez, centre circle, just inside the Southampton half. A drag back, a run, a tackle by James Ward-Prowse. Still it's with Leicester City and Castagna, though, over on the far side. A step in from the touchline, back to Fofana. Redmond goes across. The ball forward is inaccurate, cut out by Bertrand, and it's back with Southampton once again. Oh, they've given it away so cheaply through Gineppo. I think someone needs to make a change here. Ball out towards the near side. Pereira picks it up. You were saying about Iheanacho.
That was just finally learnt my lesson. When you're talking about someone and they suddenly get the ball, need to shut up.
Oh, mate, it will keep happening. Don't worry about that. Commentator's curse is alive and well, don't you worry.
Yeah, but no, he's the most informed player on the pitch, and he's been very quiet, and he's staying in the same position. And Vestergaard's just bullied him physically. He's not been able to get into the game. Jamie Vardy loves this left-hand side and will always favour that. But Iheanacho, you can't just keep doing the same thing and keep getting bullied. Change your position, maybe look to come inside a little bit more, or even running behind. He's very passive, I would say, so far in this game.
It's the simple pleasures in life, isn't it? You know, when you've been locked down for pretty much the most of the year, when you haven't had supporters in the ground for most of that time. There was a brief period where we did get a few trial games, but I just saw Mark Albrighton warm up away to our left-hand side, and a Leicester fan behind the goal away to our left just shouted at him, and he gave the thumbs up, which I think is something that you do when you're warming up quite a lot, isn't it? You know, the crowd get into you and say something to you, and you react to them. It's probably the first time in a while that he's been able to do that. Here is Soyuncu as Kasper Schmeichel rolls it out from the edge of his penalty area to the left fullback and Pereira. A spin and turn by Perez, and then he tries to return the ball to Pereira again. It's one back by Southampton, and there is a combination here of just a little bit of sloppiness in possession, but also good, diligent defending.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Stuart Armstrong brilliant there to make sure that he got back in and followed the run of Ricardo Pereira. Jose Perez, though, it wasn't a difficult pass. That shepherd's hook might be getting ready from Brendan Rodgers, I'm sure.
Ball is out to the far side, and Vestergaard tries to poke it through the centre, and it's picked up by Redmond, and he has got some space, and Ings has gone down the left-hand side. He's been released by Redmond, but Fofana's going to get there first, and the offside flag was up anyway, so it wouldn't have counted had it come to anything, and it's out over on the far side. We talked about the possibility of a change. How important is it that whoever comes on the field of play is ready to make an impact?
Vital, absolutely vital. When the games are this tight, if you're going to come on, you've got to make a difference. And you know, too often I think as a substitution you come on and maybe don't have the impact that's desired.
Well, Theo Walcott has had an impact at Wembley before. He's tying his shoelace now. 2015, the FA Cup final. He wasn't going to be in the team. A week before, he scored a hat-trick against West Bromwich Albion, and Arsene Wenger had to put him in the Arsenal team for the game against Aston Villa. And did he deliver? Boy, did he deliver. He scored the opening goal.
Yeah.
And he loves the FA Cup, he's been telling me this week. And he can't wait to get back out there. And he did say, you know, OK, we haven't played very well this season, especially in the second half of the campaign, but we haven't let a goal in so far in this FA Cup journey. So why not us? Why can't we dare to dream? Over the course of history, there's been so many of the underdogs that have gone on and won this competition.
Oh, exactly. And after what we've seen so far, certainly not seeing the best Leicester side.
Armstrong charging forward, and then his final pass is just not right, and it's cleared away by Johnny Evans. Sorry, you were saying about the Leicester side not being at their best?
Well, they're not. They've not been anywhere near their best so far in this game, considering the quality that they have shown this season. And you're right, Southampton's got a great chance in this game if it continues in this manner. I think it's down to Brendan Rodgers to make a change, and that's a great turn from Vardy.
Vardy away from Bednarek, speeding down the left-hand side. He's got Iheanacho in the centre, and at the back post Castagna. He looks for Iheanacho, first time volley, comes back to him and scores! It's 12 and 12 for Iheanacho, and Leicester lead in the FA Cup semi-final. And now the Foxes are having a party, and no one will be bemoaning this one. It's Leicester 1, Southampton 0.
And Jamie Vardy, he's as bored as everyone else of what's been going on in this game so far. He's absolutely grabbed it by the scruff of the neck. A brilliant turn on that left-hand side, too pacey for Bednarek. He gets away and he bides his time. He gets his head up. He makes sure he's going to pick the perfect pass for his strike partner, Iheanacho. The first shot came back to him favourably, and then he was cool and calm and confident just to slide it past the goalkeeper.
Well, he's no longer anyone's understudy. Kelechi Iheanacho has scored more goals in this competition than any other African player. He peeled off, went back to the edge of the 6-yard box as the two defenders went towards their goal. He was picked out by Jamie Vardy, from a left wing cross. It was a terrible attempt at a shot, first of all, that was going miles wide. It came back fortuitously off Vestergaard. He didn't miss the second invitation and tucked it beyond Fraser Forster. And Southampton have conceded a goal in this competition. Now it's Leicester 1, Southampton 0.
Yeah, there was that big stroke of luck, wasn't there, with that first strike from Iheanacho into the shins of Vestergaard. And it sometimes as a striker, and pretty much always when you're confident and scoring goals, it just happens to fall for you, and then you've got to take the second opportunity, and he did. Nice and calm, crisp side foot past the goalkeeper. But Jamie Vardy, that's the way that you take it away from this Southampton side, with your pace and your directness and then your quality at the end of it.
Perez helping it over the top, looking for a Iheanacho again, who's still chasing down the ball, and Fraser Forster just about is able to pick it up. Now, how does Southampton respond? Ralph Hasenhüttl, what is he going to do now? Look, Southampton have got to respond to the challenge now. They've got to show a bit more hunger. They've got to take the handbrake off. They've got to fly at Leicester and try and go for it, because ultimately this is their season. They've got 34 minutes left. If they don't get through in this game, their season is done. It's over.
Oh, absolutely. You can turn what has turned out to be a really disappointing season into a fantastic one, and one for the supporters to get to the FA Cup final.
Redmond, bit of space to manoeuvre in behind the Leicester City midfield. He runs down towards the left, is Gineppo. He plays it into him. It's a low cross which is blocked by Fofana, and it goes behind and away for a corner kick. Now they're asking for Chris Kavanagh to check out whether or not there was a handball there.
Talk about a guilty face. Fofana just turned around and looked at the referee. He knows that it struck his arm, but luckily it was nice and tight to his ribs.
Substitution for Southampton. They're making their first change, and it's Shea Adams who's coming on to replace Nathan Redmond. Shea Adams, whose last goal was for Scotland against the Faroe Islands. At the beginning of March, he went on a flurry of scoring 3 and 3, but he's a sporadic scorer of goals in truth. He has been given a new nickname by the Southampton dressing room over the course of the last few weeks since declaring for Scotland. They've been calling him McShea and McShea McAdams. They even made him a shirt up with McAdams on the back. Here's the corner over on the far side. Ward-Prowse is going to take it, right-footed. Southampton behind here to Leicester City as the ball's whipped in underneath the goalkeeper. Oh, that wasn't the greatest punch by Schmeichel. Got something on it, but maybe not enough. The ball went flicking out towards this near side, and it goes away for a throw-in. Southampton get it restarted quickly. Up to the right edge of the area, and Carl Walker-Peters. It's flicked towards Vestergaard by Diallo, and it's headed away, back out as far as Gineppo. Gineppo edge of the area, right-footed shot, takes a deflection, goes into the air, works out wide into Armstrong territory. But Perez again doing very well to sort of shut down that attack. Can't believe the decision's gone against him. The throw-in's gone Southampton's way. He's kicked it out again just to make sure.
Well, he has worked hard defensively. Jose Perez worked hard for his side. Maybe that's why he was put into the team, and he has played very much on this left-hand side. They've been very lopsided, Leicester.
Here's a change for Leicester City, and off comes Ricardo Pereira, and on comes Mark Albrighton. A bit more experience, quality of delivery into the box.
Yeah, he's been excellent whenever he's played, actually, Mark Albrighton. I think his levels of performance have always been very, very good. I think Jamie Vardy likes to play with him because he knows that ball's going to come nice and quickly in behind, slid in behind the centre-backs.
Scored their first ever Champions League goal, and has come up with an assist in each of his last 3 appearances as Mark Albrighton. He comes onto the foot of play to go into the right full-back position. It means Castagna will go towards the left wing-back position. Indeed, he clears away from the throw-in. It goes out again, and down in front of the perimeter fences to the red zone, where you mustn't go unless you've got the correct pass, as Mark Saggers found out earlier today. He was almost escorted out of the ground. Vardy inside the centre circle, turning the ball down the right side, looking for the run of Albrighton. Doesn't quite get there. It's cleared by Forster up over the halfway line. Ings tries to bring it down. Tielemans protects the ball despite pressure in the centre circle, and then loses it to Ings, and Ings is running now, and it's 3-on-3, and Ings has got space for Che Adams inside the area, onto his right foot. Took too long to get the shot away. It's blocked, comes back out, it's hit by Diallo, and it goes over the top of the crossbar from 20 yards, and it flies into those sporadic fans behind Kasper Schmeichel's goal. But you just wonder whether or not, if Che Adams was confident on his left foot, he might have finished that.
Yeah, called it perfectly, Sam. Just got to drag that across onto his left foot. Danny Ings does brilliantly, bursts forward, shrugs off Ndidi right through the middle of the pitch, and then just plays it to his left into Che Adams's path. And you're right, he just needs to let that come across his body, take a touch and strike with the left foot instead as they give the ball away. Leicester.
Indeed, he gives it away, and now Ings is through, played in by Ward-Prowse. He's taken too long to get the shot away again, and then he tried a back heel which didn't come off, and Leicester snaffle the ball up in front of the goal away to our right hand side, and it's another let off, because that was a chance, a big chance for Danny Ings.
Well, Soyuncu made a decision. I mean, he's already on a yellow card anyway, but he slid in towards Danny Ings, trying to put him off the shot, which is why he delayed. He possibly could have gone down. I've seen plenty of players go down with that sort of contact. He didn't, because he felt he might have got the chance, but in the end then Johnny Evans did brilliantly, came across and just cut out the pass into the middle. But good response from Southampton. And Che Adams, just going back to that chance for Che Adams, taking onto his left foot to strike, which is where the space was, cut back inside into traffic, too many bodies to hit through, and it was blocked.
Well, there's a lot of mock-up t-shirts of Che Adams as Che Guevara that do the rounds. I'm sure he will be a hero, and remembered hero if he can come up with a goal that keeps them in this competition. At the moment they're going out and about to suffer their 12th defeat of 2021, which is some feat really, seeing as we're only in April. Ball is out of play over on the far side. Southampton trying to respond to that goal scored by Iheanacho on the 56th minute of this Wembley semi-final, here on a cool night now after a hot day in North London. The ball tossed in towards the edge of the penalty area, headed away, comes back out to Carl Walker-Peters, who tries to strike from distance, takes a deflection. Ings is underneath it, a back header doesn't quite come off, it falls to Armstrong, right side of the box. He's crossed, he's defended, but only as far as Diallo, he hits the bar with a volley. There might have been an offside flag up in the middle anyway, and it might not have counted, but it looked beautiful. Diallo with a side volley into the top of the goal away to our right, and it cannoned off the bar.
It was a wonderful side volley. I think he actually just misses the bar and hits the stanchion at the back of the goal. I mean, he just wound his leg back, looking for that side-winding volley. Tried desperately to keep it down and did, and just cuts away from the goal and hits the stanchion at the back, which makes it always look a little bit more spectacular.
We love a spectacular volley in an FA Cup semi-final. 64 gone. You're listening to Talk Sport. A couple of good chances since the goal for Southampton. Leicester just got to keep their nerve here, and Kasper Schmeichel again casual after pressure from Ings, charging him down inside the 18-yard box. He volleys the ball to his left, and Evans deals with it.
Has he got a pulse? Someone check him.
He's very laid back. 20 minutes gone in the second half. You're listening to Talk Sport, and we should have anticipated that this was going to be the case, because 33 of Leicester's 55 league goals have come after half-time, and their one goal that they've scored so far has come after the break. Iheanacho finds Perez. Out wider is Albrighton. Vardy's on the dart. Albrighton is looking for him. Castagna's in there as well. And there was 3 blue shirts to aim at, but he went centrally. Forster came out and took charge, and the big, tall goalkeeper came and grabbed the ball right on the perimeter of his box.
Going to catch your eye, isn't he? Fraser Forster, man mountain, all in the bright yellow. You can just, I'm sure as you're just darting in as a centre forward, you just see that in your periphery vision and think, no thanks, I'll leave this one.
6'7", Fraser Forster, and his last appearance actually at Wembley was when he let in 5 against Tottenham on Boxing Day 2017. Quickly fell out of favour with the then manager Manuel Pellegrino. And then Mark Hughes didn't play him either. He went to Celtic, played well on loan, came back, has hardly featured under Ralph for 2 years really, but now has established himself as the number 1 again. Here is Perez down the left, goes back to Castagna. Infield it goes to Soyuncu, just left of the centre circle. Leicester City 1, Southampton 0. James Maddison getting stripped and ready for action. It will be his first appearance since being left out last week after attending a party thrown by Ayoze Perez 2 weeks previous, which they attended breaking the COVID-19 protocols. Didn't go down too well with their manager. He'll be delighted if Maddison can come on and add to their advantage here. They have a 1-goal lead. Tangle between Iheanacho and James Ward-Prowse in Southampton's right fullback position. It's cleared up to Shea Adams. Shea Adams plays it square. Stretching was Bertrand and just had to check his run. Turns and goes back to his goalkeeper, Fraser Forster. And he will clear down the middle of the pitch. Leicester third in the table at the start of the day. It's so very, very tight up there, and that was tight as well because the ball was played long for Ings to chase, and he was right on the edge of the box, and there was a little nudge from Soyuncu.
Oh, it's the unwritten rule, of course. It's one of the unwritten rules, isn't it, that defenders can just barge you out of the way when you're trying to close down the goalkeeper, and tell you what, it's fine.
Are you being sarcastic? You don't think that's acceptable? Is that what you're trying to say? As a forward?
I've said my piece.
Dean Ashton, former England striker, former West Ham striker, who played a big part in the semi-final victory for West Ham in 2006 at Villa Park, got them to the final in that same year. He'll know all too well that it's a huge achievement to get to an FA Cup final if you can manage it, but you only really remember the winners unless you lose it in the last minute of the game.
Oh, that's bang out of order.
Here is Diallo across to Bednarek into James Ward-Prowse. Looks up and then it's played infield to Ward-Prowse again.
From Ward-Prowse to Ward-Prowse.
It was Armstrong to Ward-Prowse, actually. I knew you were going to get me back after I'd left a little bit above the ankle on you. 1-0 to Leicester City. This is Talk Sport. We're at Wembley Stadium, and so are 4,000 residents of Brent and NHS workers from the local area, and I think they really enjoyed that Iheanacho goal. Will there be another one? Can Southampton crowbar their way back into this game? They've just lost a little bit of that pace that they had straight after the goal. Here is Diallo being pursued by the goal scorer Iheanacho. He's balled him straight down, and it's going to be a substitution. And it is Ayoze Perez who's going to come off, and James Maddison who's going to come on. And eventually Leicester City decide to go down the Madison Avenue.
Nice. I mean, it's perfect really for him to come on in this sort of situation. Leicester will undoubtedly sit nice and tight in a great shape, make it very difficult for Southampton, but they'll want to get the second goal on the break, and Maddison could be a pivotal player in that. If they can get it into his feet, he can get turned and then deliver quality into his forwards.
Maddison trots into a defensive position initially because they've got to defend this free kick which has been given against the Iheanacho. It's a good 23 yards outside the penalty area, this, from James Ward-Prowse, but he's going to dig it out like a golf shot towards the far stick and Vestergaard, headed away. Iheanacho holds on to it, lovely turn, and now Leicester City really can break at speed, and there's space on the far side for Albrighton. Vardy darting into the centre, Maddison is up there too. Albrighton has it into Vardy trying to turn. Maddison didn't move back towards the far edge of the penalty area, and Vardy sort of looked up to see where he was and wasn't anticipating him to be so surrounded by white jerseys at that point, and Southampton have got back in shape to snuff out the attack.
It's a gorgeous little pirouette from Iheanacho.
He's full of confidence now, isn't he? Kelechi Iheanacho. Castagna, he's got the only goal of this game so far, Iheanacho. Maddison trying to get forward, little touch and a nudge in field. He gets a foul by Carl Walker-Peters, and a free kick is given in an area in which he will like to be able to whip in a free kick from. And we've got 20 minutes to go.
He's very good at that, James Maddison, manipulating the ball, waiting for contact, and then once he flicked the ball away, there's always going to be a foul as Walker-Peters stepped across him. And you're right, great position, and he will now take up the duties from Tielemans on set plays.
Maddison lining up the free kick. He's got 5 to aim at on the edge of the area. Johnny Evans has just dropped back out and gone back in again. It's now 6 as the ball goes towards the far stick, and it's overhit by Maddison. Range not really in at the moment. Only had a couple of touches of the ball since coming off the bench. It goes straight out of play and away for a goal kick.
Well, I mean, I'd like to stick up for him and say that he was trying to catch Forster out, but I can't. It was just a smelly free kick.
A technical term, that. 1-0 to Leicester City. Iheanacho with the only goal of the game, and he wants to get to the final for a number of reasons. One of them is to persuade his dad to come and watch him in the FA Cup final. His old man came over from Nigeria only the once since he moved here, and that was to watch his first training session with Manchester City. But his dad was so cold, he went inside after 10 minutes and has never come back to the UK. To be fair, Iheanacho himself had never experienced anything like it back in February 2015. He asked to go back to Nigeria as well soon afterwards. But Manchester City said, no, you've signed a contract, you've got to stay it. But actually, he says now he's used to, he's absolutely fine, and he even trains sometimes in the winter without a top on.
Good on him.
Be right at Newcastle now. He is the first Nigerian player to score 15 goals in a season in all competitions for a Premier League club since Odion Ighalo scored 17 in 2015-16 for Watford. And he's always been a little bit upset about the fact that he never got to watch Nwankwo Kanu's winning goal for Portsmouth against Cardiff here in 2008. He talked this week about queuing up to get into a youth centre in Nigeria to watch that final, but he didn't have any money and you had to pay to get in. Theo Walcott comes on to replace Djenepo, and a bit of noise for Theo Walcott because he is, of course, a former Arsenal player, and there was a few shouts of Arsenal.
Was there a few Theos?
There might have been. And Theo Walcott comes on to replace Djenepo. It's an odd change, actually. It was an odd sort of decision to drop Theo Walcott in this game. He's made quite a contribution since joining Southampton. Djenepo's gone off over on the far side. He's still walking around the edge of the pitch behind the goal away to our right. Walcott will go over to that left-hand side.
Also that experience as well, you know, for such a big game, a tense game, you know, if you've got experienced players that you can pick from, I think it could make a difference.
And he's got 17 minutes to make a difference now, Theo Walcott. His last goal was against Arsenal in December. I think they're going to try and prize him from Everton in the summer on a permanent transfer. At the moment he's living down south, his family are living still in the north because he's only on loan from Everton. It's a situation I'm sure he'll want to resolve. Ndidi thrusting it forward, handball inadvertent as it may have been from James Ward-Prowse, has been punished. Tielemans was then subsequently squashed. As a result of that, there is a free kick just inside the centre circle.
Yeah, and it was Diallo as well that came steaming in. Tielemans grabbing his toes as if he'd been stamped on. I'm not too sure. I think Chris Kavanagh was happy that there wasn't enough in it, but it looked like he definitely trod on his foot, which he certainly did.
The whistle had already gone, hadn't it? Not that that's necessarily a reason not to do something about a reckless challenge. Again, we don't know details of whether or not there is a VAR check or any sort of discussion, and we do know that Leicester City have wasted the subsequent free kick by kicking it straight out of play. 15 minutes to go. Leicester City are on the verge of their first FA Cup final since 1969. Maddison on the ball. Iheanacho takes it off him. Maddison's not happy about that, but Castagne's now got it wide on the left-hand side. He's clipped by Walker-Peters, and it's a free kick. And Iheanacho and Maddison in quite intense conversation, because Maddison said, you took that away from me and I had the opportunity to get on the half turn and create some problems.
Yeah, he did. He just got in the way. And rightly so, Maddison was frustrated because he was probably just about to pull the trigger, and Walker-Peters again stepping in, giving a cheap free kick away on this left-hand side.
Well, here is the free kick to be taken by Albrighton. It's just about a step back from the right angle, right on the edge of the top of the penalty area left side. It's right-footed, Albrighton towards the far post. Solanchu can't get there, Vestergaard can. It drops for Fofana, still inside the box and loose, hooked into the air, and then it runs out towards the left where it's eventually cleared by James Ward-Prowse. Up over the halfway like Castagna chasing, but he's got Ings in close proximity. He had to be careful, and he headed it straight out of play as a result of that. 15 minutes to go. And Leicester City have scored 19 goals in the final 15 minutes of matches, which is more than anyone else in the Premier League this season. They may well be confident of going on and extending their lead as Southampton try to put them under pressure and space opens up.
Yeah, and that's the dilemma that Southampton have, isn't it? They've got to commit, they've got to press more bodies forward, but as you do that, you leave yourself so vulnerable to what is a fantastic counter-attacking side.
Iheanacho weaves past James Ward-Prowse, moves towards the edge of the area. He's got Maddison in space inside the box, left-footed, and he drives it over the top. What a chance to win it for James Maddison. That would have been a moment to savour for the man who was left out of the team last week because of a COVID-19 protocol breach. He could have repaid his manager there.
He certainly could have. That's what he would have been thinking about, sat on the substitutes bench, wouldn't it? This opportunity, when it's rolled to him, he's thinking, this is it. This'll prove my manager wrong for leaving me out, but just as he let it come across his body, he's obviously trying to drill that nice and low past Forster, and just as you start to lean back, it's so hard to then keep it down, and he's dug his foot underneath it and up and over the crossbar.
It's a good opportunity for Leicester to seal the deal and a place in the FA Cup final against Chelsea on the 15th of May. Ball whipped in by Ward-Prowse towards the back post. Shea Adams is up there, comes out towards the middle of the Leicester City half. Ings has got it now. He's a little bit deep here, Ings. He has sort of tended to do that over the course of this season. He's dropped very deep, and that's caused Southampton, I think, a bit of an issue. The ball is loose in midfield, won by Tielemans, back to the left full-back in Castagna, up to halfway, and Vardy into a Iheanacho, round the corner, and Vardy's on his bike and he's spinning away from Bednarek at the far post. It's Albrighton. He tried to get back in, but Bednarek watched it and nudged it away, and that just slowed the angle of attack from Jamie Vardy. Has bought precious seconds and taken away any pressure on the back line, but he just seemed to race past Bednarek and then didn't really have the confidence to get his shot away from that tight angle.
Oh, poor old Bednarek. When he gets left 1v1 in a wide area, he's got no chance, has he? Not really. Great clever movement from Jamie Vardy. When he flicked it inside, he spun away. Iheanacho playing that ball into the space, and I think it was just a slightly weak touch, the first touch from Jamie Vardy, that allowed Bednarek just to get back and take the sting out of the attack.
Sent long up towards Iheanacho, headed away by Bertrand, but retrieved by Tielemans, and now Albrighton. Iheanacho, Maddison, space, edge of the D, right-footed shot into towards the far corner, and flailing to his right was Forster, but it went wide of the right-hand upright. And Maddison, who's had a couple of dints already in that Southampton back line, has noticed that he can pick the ball up from range and really test the Southampton defence, but he hasn't tested the goalkeeper as of yet.
Yeah, and when you play that system that Southampton play, you're going to get outnumbered in the midfield when you get opened up, and James Maddison, with the pace of the two forwards giving a threat in behind, then there's going to be that space for Maddison to pick up the ball, set his sights on goal, and again he'd be disappointed that he put it so far wide.
Forster's come a very long way to deal with this ball down the left-hand side and help out Bednarek, and Vardy was chasing again, and this time he's just lolloped the ball into the advertising hoardings on this near side. And Leicester City have a throw with 10 minutes to go. They beat Southampton 2-0 earlier in the season in the Premier League. They haven't beaten Saints twice in the same season for 9 years. Iheanacho past Ward-Prowse into the area, down to the byline, stops the ball, sends it back towards Castagna. Across comes Walker-Peters, manages to half clear. Vestergaard further away with a dappled header out towards the right fullback area. James Ward-Prowse hooking it away in desperation at the moment, rather than trying to get back level in the game. Southampton are on the back foot.
They are. Iheanacho again, brilliant bit of play in tight situation, just to play a 1-2 with Castagna, get to that byline, cut back, and then the ball just got stuck in under his foot.
Iheanacho again trying to get away from Diallo. Was there a little bit late there.
Nah, good challenge.
Said, no, play on. And Chris Kavanagh says continue. And then Bertrand, who's trying to get out from the left-hand side, runs into Albrighton. This throw-in certainly went out deep inside the Southampton half. Bertrand is now almost on the halfway line, having gone to pick the ball up from the multi-ball system over on the far side. And because the ball was stationed in that area, they've allowed him to take it. Unreal, really. I mean, they did say right at the beginning of the COVID-19 sort of protocols coming in that they weren't going to use this system as a multi-ball system. It was going to be that each time the ball went out of play, reset, wait, go and get the ball, bring it back in again. If you had to get a different ball, there would still be a delay. That's not been the case, has it? It's been very much get the ball very quickly, get things started. It hardly goes out of play.
Well, look, players, it won't take them long to see where they can gain any sort of advantage. And you're right, that does help, doesn't it? Get the ball quickly, steal 5 or 10 yards, and away you go.
Well, Southampton are about to bring on Nathan Teller. He's 21. He is a winger really by trade, but he did score 4 goals in a Premier League 2 game against Leicester back in December. He's about to come on for Southampton. Ball sent forward, Vardy chasing, Forster away, down the middle of the pitch, headed into the air by Shea Adams. It's lost and won by Ndidi. Leicester City lead by 1-0 on Talk Sport. And Brendan Rodgers has spoken about managing the game in this situation. He said, you know, you've got to remain calm, you've got to be controlled, not to overthink or get nervous at this stage, because any sort of nerves, any sort of worries, any thoughts that creep into your mind at this stage of the afternoon with a 1-goal advantage or a slender lead, and it can immobilise you.
Yeah, I think they've actually managed it really well. They've actually squeezed up Leicester. Their backline, Johnny Evans, very vocal in getting the team up the pitch and make it very difficult for Southampton to play their way out.
Iheanacho's just slipped over on the far side, just in front of the 18-yard box. Now, there wasn't much going on at that time.
Cramp?
He's just holding the back of his knee. And you can only hope that it's cramp. I mean, yesterday when Jesse Lingard went down, we all had our hearts in our mouths, didn't we? Yeah. In that West Ham-Newcastle game. We hope that was just cramp. Again, there wasn't much in the...
I just wonder whether he got, the follow-through from Vestergaard as he kicked the ball away. Maybe he just towed him in the hamstring.
Here is Vardy, on from Maddison, into the area. The angle's tight, takes it away from goal, and then the offside flag goes up anyway on the far side. And it's going to be a free kick to Southampton, but time is running out for them now. 6.5 minutes to go on Talk Sport. There are 11 places between these two in the league, but 1 goal between them in this FA Cup semi-final, which may well yield Leicester a place in the showpiece event next month, 15th of May, a date with Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea. Off comes Bertrand, and off comes Carl Walker-Peters, and on comes Jankovic and Teller. And James Ward-Prowse turns around and says, what on earth are we doing here then? Well, I think Teller is going to play as a right wing back. Jankovic, who hasn't been seen since he was sent off after 82 seconds in the 9-0 defeat to Manchester United on his Premier League debut. He's coming on at left back, so I can only imagine that they're deciding to go for it, because these are 2 young attack-minded players that might be able to add something right at the end of the game. Well, Jankovic was brilliant in the under-21s game for Switzerland against England.
He was excellent. He played in midfield though, didn't he? He was fantastic.
Apparently going to get a move at the end of the season, because I don't think he's going to sign another contract with Southampton, from what we are hearing.
No, but this is definitely bold to possibly expose your 2 centre-backs to the counter-attack, but you have to get back into this game somehow.
It's an FA Cup semi-final, there's nothing else to play for. It is literally win or bust. And what a moment it will be for Leicester City, the whole club, who won the league out of nowhere really, but they really built on it, didn't they? You know, they scouted right, they bought well, they promoted young players, and they will be delighted to be the first team to win in front of a small crowd as we come back towards normality in the country. And they will be hoping that when it comes on May the 15th, they will be able to play in front of 22,000 spectators. That's the hope.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I mean, anyone who's been to an FA Cup final or tried to get a ticket for an FA Cup final recently probably thinks that actually, you know, 22,000, that's 11,000 each allocation. That's probably about right anyway. Usually the rest of them go to sponsors. So, I mean, but can you imagine, we've had a good noise here today. It's been great to hear the proper football authentic soundtrack today. Imagine what it'd be like when there's 21,000 in here in a couple of weeks' time. And of course next Sunday we've got live Carabao Cup final action where there's 8,000 people inside this ground. So we're ramping up nicely, Dino.
Absolutely.
Stock up on those lateral flow tests, fella. Me and Sags did a test one the day before we had to take our proper one because we didn't want to mess it up.
They certainly wake you up in the morning, don't they?
Leicester City 1, Southampton 0. Yeah, we'll all get used to, very quickly we'll get used to prodding ourselves up the nose and round the back of our throat. It's okay. It's good for you, good for the soul. 3 minutes to go before the end of this game. Ball kicked long by Kasper Schmeichel out towards this near side, but it fades away over the head of Castagna and out for a throw. And Leicester City, who I think for their manager really would love to win this trophy. Rodgers has won lots of trophies in Scotland, but he's never won anything in England. He was part of a Liverpool team that almost won the title. He was leading that charge. He also got to an FA Cup semi-final that they were expected to win against Southampton, and Grealish really bossed that semi-final, against Aston Villa, and he lost that. Aston Villa went to the cup final when Liverpool were big favourites to do so in Steven Gerrard's last season on Steven Gerrard's birthday. It didn't work out. He wants to make sure that he doesn't fall out of the top four, and he gets to the cup final now that they have this advantage. 2 minutes to go. Here is Tielemans just over the halfway line. In fact, let's be completely clear, since they took the lead they haven't looked like losing.
I've been so impressed, I really have. That change in tactics in terms of not just sitting and allowing Southampton to have the ball. They've now squeezed up and looked to press Southampton and just suffocate them in terms of trying to get any sort of a rhythm into their play to put any pressure on. It's been excellent game management from Leicester.
I don't think Theo Walcott's touched the ball since coming on. Ball has been sent centrally towards Vardy, couldn't get hold of it, just got a little nick on it, goes out of play and away for a throw-in. 90 seconds are left of play. Next for Southampton, they play Tottenham on TalkSport 2. That's away on Wednesday night. Leicester City then follow at home Liverpool, Fulham, Leeds and West Ham to end what will be a rather limp end to the season for them. But for Leicester, what a dramatic end to the season it could be. An FA Cup final. The possibility of finishing in the top 3 of the Premier League if they can do the job in games like West Brom at home, Palace at home, Southampton away, Newcastle at home. They'll have to do it in that, you expect, because their last 3 games are pretty tasty. Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, both away from home, and then Tottenham. It's going to be tasty. It's going to be tasty. Maddison trying to nudge it through to Vardy, given away. Is there one last attack? Kelechi Iheanacho, the goal scorer of the only goal of this game. 1-0 to Leicester City going into stoppage time, and he's been named the man of the match here at Wembley this afternoon in the FA Cup semi-final. The ball loose on the Leicester left, just inside their own half. Maddison trying to keep hold of it, plays it against Teller, and it goes out of play and away for a throw-in.
The thing is, they just haven't got the players to play it forward quickly. Southampton, they have to try and build up. That is their game.
James Ward-Prowse has just said to Danny Ings, you just stay as far forward as possible. I will whip the ball towards you. We've got 4 minutes of stoppage time. Is that enough for Southampton to get back into the game? Bednarek with a late challenge on Vardy. Vardy makes the most of it. Free kick 1 for Leicester City, who now can see a date with destiny in the middle of May. A yellow card for Bednarek. The second Southampton player to go into the book.
It's what you've got to do. It doesn't matter how it happens, you just have to get through to the final. If it means winning free kicks, making sure the clock ticks down, frustrate the opposition, you've got to do it.
There'll be a second FA Cup semi-final defeat in a row for Southampton, who lost here under Mark Hughes to second half goals from Morata and Giroud, Chelsea 3 years ago. And another defeat to Leicester. I think they won't like playing Leicester very often, Southampton and their supporters. Here is Castagna trying to go down the left. Armstrong comes across and looks to shut him down. Iheanacho gets away from him, moves, swivels into the box. He might get a shot away. Does. It's blocked by Jankovic. Just in front of Forster. Still not clear. Ndidi's got it back after Tielemans. Good work from him. On the edge of the area, Ndidi trying to win it. They're pressing high up again. They've won the ball back high up again. And then the ball down the left for Vardy was just a little bit too heavy from Iheanacho. And it runs behind and away down the left channel and out and away for a goal kick, which Fraser Forster wants to get on with very quickly, Dean.
He certainly does, but who's he going to kick it to? Che Adams is the man, but Soyuncu and Evans brilliant in the air.
Soyuncu wins the header. Across goes Vardy to put pressure on Teller. Free kick given against Vardy. And
send them up.
James Ward-Prowse is going to take it. We're into the second minute of added time at the end of the 90. Send them up is the call from Dean Ashton, and everybody now travelling forward. Not Fraser Forster, which is a bit of a surprise. The ball goes up towards the edge of the penalty spot. It drops inside the box. It took a bounce off Jankovic and goes through to Kasper Schmeichel, who cradles it like a baby and then lands on it, smothers it, and won't let anybody near him before eventually distributing it upfield. Leicester City have managed the game well since their 56-minute goal from Kelechi Iheanacho, a man who came off the bench in an FA Cup semi-final as Manchester City lost to Arsenal in 2017, but is going to send Leicester City to an FA Cup final for the first time in over half a century. Unless there's a late dramatic change here, but Leicester are the ones with the ball over on the far touchline. Brighton trying to just tickle down the right. Across comes Diallo and puts it out of play, and it's away for a Leicester throw, and 3 minutes of the 4 that have been added are nearly up.
And it'll feel like they've just let it go a bit of a whimper, to be honest, Southampton, especially this second half. They've not really given enough. They've not been too much of a threat, and it's been pretty comfortable for Leicester. Vestergaard's gone up the pitch, but they haven't really looked to having an idea or planned for it.
Ball sent down towards Iheanacho. Up down the right. Still the ball is inside the Southampton half rather than the Leicester one, and that's where the Foxes are quite happy to keep it. Brendan Rodgers standing with his hands behind his back, several steps to his left, then to his right, hoping that time will tick away. Ralph Hasenhüttl looking beleaguered inside his technical area. What does the future hold for Southampton now after such a dramatic dip in form and failing to really make the most of this FA Cup semi-final? Well, they've won a free kick just in front of the centre circle. Vestergaard got a kick in the head, and then as a result there's going to be one last chance to put the ball in the box for James Ward-Prowse. And the reason you can hear the cheering is because Fraser Forster has vacated his goal, his half. He's going up into the Leicester penalty box to try and get on the end of this.
2 6'7" men in there. Can he find one?
James Ward-Prowse from deep sends it long, aims it towards the far post. It's the dreadful delivery. It's over here, and that is the end of the FA Cup semi-final. And Leicester City reached the FA Cup final for the first time in 52 years. Their players jump and leap into the air. Vardy collapses with emotion. Iheanacho is embraced by his teammates. It's yet another pivotal triumph over Southampton in what could be a dramatic end to a fabulous season. There's a beam across the face of the manager Brendan Rodgers. Chelsea await for him in the final, where he started his coaching career and who he will be hoping to become the first man to win the FA Cup for Leicester City. A terrific day for the Foxes, a wonderful day for Kelechi Iheanacho. For Southampton, it's the end of the line. Leicester have beaten Southampton by 1-0.